Prop Store.
propstore.com. Welcome to all the viewers and listeners around the world to this week's live show to Be More Super, the podcast. It is Wednesday, the 8th of February, nearly Valentine's Day. Larry, what have you got your missus of Valentine's?
I got her all this big package of beautiful man.
There's no need to give her anything else for the
Eh,
rest of the for the rest of the marriage. Do you know what Valentine's for me I just think's overrated. Why should you have to spend a day showing your loved one that you care? You should be doing it every day. But do you know what, I'm really excited to be going live with you again, Larry. We've got a lot to talk about, and I'm just really excited. I just wanted to give a shout out to a few of the videos that I've got coming out in the next couple of days with the show, because I've been a very, very busy bee. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, this very morning, I had a awesome chat with Crew Bolan, an Australian. So we connected via the World Wide Web to Australia to chat about our latest movie, which is Seriously Red. This interview gets released at 9 o'clock, so in 55 minutes on our channel, it gets released. It's an awesome film. It's a comedy. It'll make you laugh, cry. It's basically a journey of someone that's having issues with herself and a self-worth and everything, and then she ends up being a Dolly Parton impersonator. And Dolly was completely behind it. She supported it and obviously gave them the rights to all the music and everything. It's got Rose Byrne in it as well, that we know from X-Men, and she plays Elvis Presley in the actual film. An Elvis Presley impersonator. If you're finding it hard to imagine what that looks like, go and watch it. It gets released on the 13th of February on all digital platforms. But it is an awesome movie. And my wife is the biggest critic of all, and she actually watched it from the beginning to the end, and she absolutely loved the hell out of it. She really did. And then we had Elise. I don't know if you recognise Elise, Larry. She was in Stargate Universe. She was in Orphan Black. She was also in Ready or Not, which I thought was an awesome movie. But she's got a new movie coming out called Disquiet that comes out on the 10th, so in 2 days. This interview gets released on Friday. We had a good chat about her career and everything about this new horror movie that's based in an abandoned hospital, which couldn't be scary enough as it is. And they actually filmed it in an abandoned asylum that used to be an asylum, which I think is crazy. Which
That's really cool. Please
I
tell me you asked her if Stargate Universe is coming back. That was such a big
no.
crime how they ended that show.
Do you know what? Stargate Universe was the. You see, I've never really been into Stargate. I loved the movie. I thought the movie. I remember going to the cinema, and to this day, that movie made me believe that aliens built the pyramids. Um, and to this
Oh man,
day,
you really, to get off a little topic, you really need to sit down and watch the Richard Dean Anderson Stargate series, because it picks up right where the movie leaves off, with new
yeah,
actors obviously. But I mean, you think some of that gets wild. They actually later in the series they get into Norse mythology, and that's what the alien greys are. They're
yeah,
like Thor and Odin and all that. They're the gray aliens. It actually
yeah,
gets real wild. The show,
yeah.
amazing show. I watched like everything. That's
Well,
where Jason Momoa started as well.
yeah, of course, yeah, of course. But the thing is, Stargate Universe to me, I actually really enjoy because it had Robert Carlyle in it, who's a Scottish actor, which is massive over here. So for him to be in that show, it was massive, and I really enjoyed it compared to the prospect of Stargate. But talking about Stargate and Jonathan Glasner, who is the executive producer of Stargate and the writer as well, I interviewed Reese Ritchie from The Ark, which is that new sci-fi series that's on Sci-Fi, and it streams the next day on Peacock. Reese was also in Hercules, Prince of Persia, 10,000 BC. He's done so many things, and we had a really, really funny chat about his career and the show. That is coming out Sunday. So I've been quite busy over the last few days, to be fair, and I'm contemplating getting a PA to deal with all of the marketing and everything like that, because I'm like a headless chicken.
I know
Um,
you left it to me at the last minute to put together a show. I'm like, posters.
but you know what? You don't realize, how much hard work goes in doing something like this, compared to, you take it for granted. You see what you see on the screen, but you don't understand the work that goes on in the background. But no, really, really busy. I've got a few more guests yet to announce, which I can't wait to announce again. I'm going to be extremely busy in the next week or so, which is exciting. But I'm sure I'll find some time to get onto DayZ at some point. Maybe after the live stream. It depends if my wife's watching, and she's like, "No, I'm turning the Xbox off right now." So let's talk about The Last of Us, because episode 4. What are your thoughts? What did you think of, the episode on Sunday/Monday?
Another exciting, fun episode with my son. As I said, I told you guys before. He plays the video games, and he was saying there's like scenes ripped right out of the video game. Like when she
Mm.
finds, like Ellie finds the dirty magazine in the back of the truck and stuff like that. So my son's over here like, oh yeah, I know this, and I think that's great, especially if it's fresh in your head watching it and you could relate to all these scenes. I do want to say like congratulations to the show because it doesn't really happen. I believe they're saying this has like one of the biggest increases of a new show. I think it was like over
Mm.
7 million viewers tuned in.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I'm really enjoying the show. I have my middle son. He's 15. He hates everything, and he actually comes and sits down and watches it with us. And I'm like, "Do you like it?" He's like, "Meh, meh."
Grunts.
Yeah.
At least it's bonding time. At least you've got that together, for the bonding. I've got to say though, I'm quite thankful for episode 4, because a lot of critics out there have said that it's a slow episode because they're setting things up for episode 5 and 6. I'm really thankful that this episode wasn't as full on, because the last few have been quite full on. You've been on the edge of your seat, and you've been invested so much into that episode. But this one, it's been quite nice. It's been quite a breath of fresh air. And the one thing I liked at the beginning of the episode is that Joel addressed the fact of the diesel, the petrol, the gasoline.
Yeah.
The fact that it goes off over time and it ends up like water. So, it's difficult to use, which they never did in The Walking Dead. I don't know what you thought about that, because in The Walking Dead, that gasoline lasted for decades.
Oh yeah. I mean, The Walking Dead. If you actually look at the timeline, I think it's like a 2-year timeline, something like that, maybe 3.
Mm?
But this is like it's a 20-year timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, most of that stuff might either be burnt out or just water in some of those tanks.
Mm. I mean,
Before we
Go.
forget, you might not have known this, but Friday, because of our Super Bowl, they're gonna be showing an episode early.
Yes, so Friday they are going to be showing it, so we don't have to wait too long for the next one, which I think is a sensible thing to do, because can you imagine if they actually showed it on Sunday? The viewing polls would be devastating, because the Super Bowl, of course, is, I think it's classed as the number one viewed event in the world, which I just think is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big sports guy. I'll tune in for some commercials here and there, maybe the halftime show, but I'm off doing whatever else. I'd probably be on the Xbox. If I'm gonna be honest.
What? Well, I'll be watching, and I might even put a cheeky bet on, because it's the only time I put a bet on. I don't gamble, but I always do it for the Super Bowl, because it gets quite interesting, especially when, you don't bet on who's going to win. You're going to bet on, the score difference and who's going to win, sort of thing. But in the Last of Us, I've got to say, poor Brian. I don't know if you felt sorry for Brian as well. I've got no, not that picture. See, look at that. Where is it? Where is it? Is it that one there? No,
The
it's
kid. I think
not
it was a
that one.
kid.
Yeah, it's a kid. I don't think I've put it on there. No, I haven't. Darn it. Yeah, it's a kid at the beginning that tries to attack Joel, and Joel ends up killing him. Did you feel sorry for him? Because the fact that he was shouting for his mum, I just thought really brought it home.
I didn't feel sorry for him, and I'm going to tell you why. Is that they caused every bit of that for
Yeah.
themselves. They attacked strangers coming in, and you know I'm not a person like we like to martyrize the bad guy a lot in our
Mm,
world, and they were bad guys in Joel and Ellie's story. They might not be real bad guys, you know. That's just when you break it down. That's a kid, and he doesn't want to die. He's just trying to survive. But in the story we were watching, they were bad guys,
yeah.
and Joel. I would have done the same thing for my family. At the end of the day, you know, they can't trust these people. They're trying to get
Mm,
somewhere, you know, and they run. He runs off or gets found and lets them know their location, you know, and like everybody there's an old saying like everybody believes in God when God's knocking at their door, you know. And
mm.
that's you know that's where I feel bad for it, but I mean like you can't pity the person that brought it on himself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is gonna change the dynamics and the relationship with Ellie a bit. I think. Well, to be honest, for me, I thought to myself, if he, I was expecting Brian to I don't know have a weapon somewhere else, or it be even more of an ambush. Um, I did feel for him. I know he's a bad guy, but I'm a sucker for situations like that, and especially when he turned around and
You don't
said,
like to see
"Mummy."
another Brian die.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't, we've got to have more Brians in this world. But I'm sure it was Brian spelt with an I, so it's fine. We can get rid of him, but keep the ones with with the Y. But again, the cast in this episode, we get introduced. I think I just showed a picture of her. Where is it? There we go. You see, I forgot her name, and I was going to research who that is, but I've seen her in comedy more
She
than I
was
have
in the
serious roles.
she was
I-
the neighbor in Two and a Half Men. She would always come over and hit on Charlie.
Excellent.
That's
Yeah,
like that's probably the biggest thing I know her from. She's been in some stuff recently too, and I can't place it.
yeah. I mean, she's fantastic. She really, really is. And but it just shows like how comedic actors can also make the best serious ones. And
Oh yeah.
she performs very, very well in the episode, and it's just going to be interesting because obviously the scenes with the room, and they're looking for obviously a child because of all the drawn pictures of Superman. I'm going to say it's Superman, some superhero, and obviously we see them at the end. But I just can't wait for the next episode, which is only Friday, which even makes it even better because we don't have to wait that long. But no, I mean, overall, the series, I think again, they haven't made a bad episode.
Yeah, it was like going back to what you're saying at the beginning of it is that the how there was kind of like a slow episode. It felt like a road trip,
Yeah, yeah,
somber, quiet, and then you hit a destination and stuff starts happening. And it was essentially a road trip episode about them on a road trip, which I thought
yeah.
was kind of interesting.
And do you know what? I got my missus with the joke as well about how diarrhea is in inherited. Was it? Oh, is
In
inherited.
your genes,
Yeah,
because it's in your
because no,
genes.
because it runs in your genes. And my
Yeah.
wife couldn't stop laughing. She went, "You got me with that one." So she's going to use that at work apparently. But it's quite nice to see Joel sort of loosen up a bit, and I think start that relationship with Ellie, because he has been quite closed off and quite cold, you know, with you know with the right reasons because of obviously losing his daughter, and obviously he's not going to keep her once he gets to where he needs to get to. But let's have a quick message for our sponsors, which are the Awesome Prop Store. So here we go. So, propstore.com are the sponsors of Be More Super, the podcast. So, we want to thank them for their support. Propstore.com are an awesome place to go if you want to get your screen use props and costume pieces from your favourite movie or TV show. They have got events going on throughout the year, and they've got an online memorabilia auction coming up very, very soon. Check it out and register to vote at propstore.com. But yeah, I mean, you can find anything from any movie or TV show. And also, if you have got any pieces at home from your favorite TV show or movie line about that you may want to, I don't know, sell, you can get in touch with Prop Store for a free valuation on your piece to maybe feature on their online store or on their next auction. So propstore.com, check them out. So yeah, so I just can't wait for episode 5. I really can't. But the next thing we're going to talk about is posters, because I mean, what was your first ever poster that you had, movie poster that you had that you can remember?
Oh man, I really don't know. Like I remember, like I know I had a Ninja Turtle poster. This the one with all 4 of the turtles coming out of the bottom, and the
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I had that as a little kid. But, like movie posters for me, like I had like random band posters and stuff growing up. But like
Yeah.
I do think like a movie poster. It's like that's why I brought it up to you is something very important, and it's a lost art of having a
Yeah.
good, memorable poster. You know.
I mean, my poster, my very first one, was a little film called The Monster Squad.
Oh,
and
wonderful film.
and do you know what? I literally, me and my mates, we formed our own monster squad of our very own, and it's just an awesome film. And I can remember I had that on my wall for years. And you would have thought that I would have had a Superman poster, but no,
Yeah.
I had a Monster Squad poster. So it just shows, doesn't it? And also I had Flight of the Navigator poster as well, which I thought which I thought was absolutely beautiful.
When I was a kid, I think I watched that movie so many times because it was always on TV. And I remember I brought it up to my wife one day. She's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I'm like, "You don't know what I'm talking about."
Which one? What
The
flight?
Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, do you know what? It's still one of the ones that I just think for how they've made it. Sorry, I just thought I saw a cat up here, but I think it's a
Is that
reflection of
your
my
cat,
phone.
your goat cat, the one that goes. "Mrrr."
No. That one's outside eating grass right now. No, I've got 3 other cats, so they wander about and just make weird noises, as you know for well. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of the greatest movies I've got to say. Directed by Randall Kleiser, who directed Grease. Joey Kramer, I thought was awesome in it. He really was. But hopefully, I mean, there were talks about having a remake, and hopefully they don't, because I believe that there's certain movies that you shouldn't remake, because I don't know, it's going to destroy many people's memories and the nostalgia, especially if they
Then
don't
this
do it properly.
for something like that. Did you see that? I can't remember the name of it. Was it the? It's the Ryan Reynolds movie where he goes back in time and he meets himself as a kid. It was a Netflix movie, Adam Project. It's the
Yes.
Adam Project. It was very reminiscent of like movies like Flight of the Navigator.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
I really enjoyed it because of that. I remember I sat there and I watched it with my 9-year-old, and he was like, "Dad, I like that movie a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, that reminds me of movies I watched as a kid."
So let's talk posters, because it is a dying art. It really is. And back when we were kids, the posters were literally all we had to look forward to. We saw these posters at the cinema, and we would stand there. I don't know about you, I would stand there for quite a while just staring at these pictures. I mean, one of the posters I'm going to bring up is this one just here. Okay, so you did mention earlier on, when we were chatting about what we're going to talk about movies that weren't very good but had amazing posters. You see,
Yes.
I quite like this movie. A lot of people have put it down, and I just think it's an awesome movie. But,
So
but
I have a funny story about this movie. Is that I was on a had so many memories of watching it as a kid, and this probably had to be like 15 years ago. I went on a hunt to find the movie. It wasn't on DVD or Blu-ray at the time, so I had to find a VHS copy of it. And I went to all these comic book shops, and I finally found a comic book shop that had a copy of Masters of the Universe. It
Yeah.
just took me like weeks to track this thing down. Like I could have gone on eBay, I know, but like even like Netflix at the time didn't have it.
Mm. But now, now you can get some awesome collections of Master of the Universe. I've seen one, but it's in German, and it's steel box and everything like that, and it's in 4K, which I don't know if that's going to improve it or show its imperfections. But artwork for instance. I mean, looking at this poster, I just think it screams like, oh my god, I need to see this movie. I mean, what are your impressions? As we're talking about good posters and bad posters, what's your impression of this one?
What I think about this one, what stands out is Skeletor's robe and how it looks almost like space,
Mm,
and like he's engulfing everything in this poster,
yeah.
because that's who yeah, he's the big bad. He's the one and you see this guy who has a skeleton face on the poster. You see this barbarian. If you don't know He-Man at that point, and you see all this, you're gonna be like, oh, they're making a He-Man movie.
Mm.
Dolph, that looks like He-Man.
What we forget is that Master of the Universe was literally a massive franchise, a toy franchise. So all of this came from the toys and the cartoon. So when this came out, literally, it broke the cinemas. I mean, it did actually really really well. I know obviously it gets panned now as one of these films that the special effects weren't that great, but yet we forget that it only had half the budget because of Superman 4. Um, so
There was a whole thing I watched about it where they were saying like the toy company was supposed to put up so much money, and then there was like a bank or like some kind of production
mm,
company that was supposed to put up half the money, and they started shooting, and then I can't remember which one it was. Didn't put. I think it was the production company like went bankrupt,
mm.
so they had to like scrounge up to finish the movie by the end.
Yeah, I mean this was done by Canon because Canon bought the rights to Superman, and that's why when this was being made and Superman 4 was being made, they ran out of money, as you said, so they had to literally half the budget. And to be fair, I think they've done all right with it because it turned out to be a fun film. And when you're a kid, you're not going to worry, you're not going to critique it as we would as adults. And I know that when I was a kid, I just thought it was glorious. I really really did. Um, but then you sent me some great examples of some posters and the differences. So you've got one here as well, which is the Reservoir Dogs. If you want to talk through that and your impressions of that, because you was mentioning something about how it's cool that it's changed for the Steelbox.
Yeah, I was in Best Buy the other day, and I kind of this cover just caught my eye. It's a great movie. I've watched it probably a dozen times. Tarantino, obviously, and but I've never seen this artwork before. And what makes a good poster to me is something that catches your eye. Just
Mm.
like when we were a little bit younger, with 20 years ago, going into like a Blockbuster. I don't know what the video chain store for you was, um, or any local video store, and you look at your DVD covers, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to catch your eye. If I didn't know what Reservoir Dogs was and I walked by this cover, I would stop immediately, like, hold on, what's this? Like,
Mm.
pick this up. Why is this guy has a bloody head? There's people in the blood. I might think it's a horror movie. I don't know. I don't know. Is this a mob movie? Like, I'm gonna be tempted to want to buy this and watch it. And that's what a
Mm.
good cover, a good poster should do.
I mean, this poster and this artwork is 100% better than the original. But then I suppose we're looking at it in the way that we've already seen, um, you know, we've already seen the film, so we know the reference with, the ear.
Yeah.
Um, so we see this and go, that's really clever. and they've done it so well. But no, that's a great cover. But we're seeing a lot of that with the introduction of Mondo. You've got here. I've got a Man of Steel poster. So this is the normal Man of Steel poster. So tell me, if you saw that poster, and then I'm going to show you the next one, which movie would you go and see? Because that's the Man of Steel one, and then this one is the Mondo version. I mean, which one do you feel is better? Do you feel
I,
it's
I like the Mondo one. Like the Mondo, like Superman's supposed to be big, hopeful, like something amazing, and that's the Mondo poster feels like. Where the regular movie poster just felt like Henry Cavill in a Superman suit. Like, hey, there's
yeah?
Superman. That's cool.
Mm. And these are very collectible. They only make a certain amount of these. Um, so I've been trying to get my hands on that one because not because it's just Man of Steel, but it just looks amazing. The artwork on it. And then when we talk about artwork, it is a dying art because we forget that these classic movies that we've grown up with were mainly done by artists. It wasn't a case of Photoshop like what they do now.
Yeah.
And Drew Struzan, who's an amazing poster artist, you could name a film and he's done a poster for it. For example, in Indiana Jones. So he actually penned and drew all of the posters. And when I mean drew, he actually drew them. It wasn't photoshops of the actual posters. I mean, what's your impression of these style posters compared to the ones we get now?
I miss them. I really do. Like in the last year, I could probably only think of like one, maybe two posters for newer movies that stuck out, like the Black Phone poster. Um, this the mask from that they wear in it is on the cover. It's really cool. And maybe everything all everywhere all at once. This poster kind of sticks up just because it's such a clutter of all this stuff going on, and it kind of catches your eye.
Mm,
Other than that, like what would we have, like the new Ant-Man movies coming out, and I know you have the poster on here for it
yeah.
because I sent it to you. Like that new Ant-Man poster, it really, this is the Mondo one. This one I think is good.
Mm,
This one it looks like Kang, and you see Ant-Man, the Wasp, his daughter, Hank Pym, you know, and I love those characters. But if you put up the new one, it if I feel like a lot of these new posters, especially with comic book movies, just feel like here are actors in costumes.
yeah. I mean, I haven't literally because we've seen the one before, and to be fair, I've put this on here because this one is just it makes your eyes explode. I mean, to
Yeah, yeah,
me,
exactly.
it's literally it's not focusing on necessarily Ant-Man and Wasp and you seriously get an impression that things going to hit the fan very very soon with this, and it's just awesome. It's just color and yeah.
It's similar to the Masters of the Universe one, where
Mm,
like in the Master with Skeletor being above everything and him almost like engulfing everything. It's the same thing with this kind of poster. Like you have that thing that they have to stop. That's massive. It's big, and then you have your heroes, and you get the sense of that they're going to be on a journey, going up against something. You know.
yeah. I mean, it's great that Mondo exists and these artists are doing such a glorious job because for example, X-Men. Whoever designed this poster should literally get another job. There we go. That is a genuine poster for X-Men first class.
That makes me think of what my wife says I think with all the time. It's me thinking, honey. That's a poster for it.
But the thing is, though, I mean, again, you look at that, right, and then I'm going to bring over a Drew Back to the Future. Okay, so that is now or quite recent ish, and that is Drew. I mean, how much work has obviously gone into that one? Again, this isn't Photoshop. This is an artist that has actually drew the poster, painted the poster, coloured the poster and put his heart and soul into that poster. How amazing is that compared to that one? It's just shocking to think, isn't it, that we
Oh,
don't get posters as often like that.
can you imagine that was in a movie theater at one point?
I know, I know, I know. And it is shocking. But then I think the same for this classic movie, Fifth Element. I mean, this is the poster. This is, and to me, don't get me wrong, I thought the film was amazing. So luckily, the film has outdone what this poster says. But me personally, I think they could have done better on this poster.
It's just a standard character head poster. That's all it is. That's what most of the Marvel movies are nowadays. Like just character head posters.
Mm?
Like like, hey, here's Bruce Willis, here's Chris Tucker, here's Mila Jovovich. Who's the blue lady? You know what I mean? Like it's just there's nothing that makes me want to go scream to go see that movie.
But then this here, this is just like the heads of the characters.
Yeah.
But I think what they've done here is quite stylish. I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, this is my personal opinion, so I don't want anyone shouting at us. But I quite like this. I quite like this picture only because I think the vision of Val Kilmer there as Batman has saved that whole poster. But then, yeah, I mean, what's your opinion? Because this is one of the ones that you sent me.
No, I'd put this under the bad when I sent you. Like it's not a great poster. Like and then all the what this is also Batman. One
Mm,
of the greatest movie posters in all time. I didn't send it to you. I don't know if you grabbed it. Was Batman '89.
oh
Batman
no.
'89 is just the bat symbol. It's simple. It's sweet. If I say Batman, that's what your head goes to. Is that symbol all these years down. And like same thing with Superman. When you think of Superman, what do you think of? The S. The original
Yeah,
Superman, the movie. It was just, all you think of is that S. I believe a man can fly. And I think
yeah,
that's what a good poster should do. Is that you hear that name and it's gonna pop in your head. Like if I say Star Wars: A New Hope, you already have that image of Luke holding up the lightsaber in your head.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like if you say Batman Forever, I'm like, that's the one with Jim Carrey, right? Like you're not gonna get this image in your head, like when you
yeah,
think of Batman Forever.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's so many amazing posters. To be fair, I mean, I think they've done a better job with the great ones than the worst ones. Um, I've got a comment here. I've got to say, I've got to put this in from Hacken. Great show, guys. Love you both. Maybe more Daisy content. Maybe we can get them on the show and we can pull apart Daisy at some point. That'd be quite good
They're
fun.
just gonna talk about how awful we are, and they carry us all the time.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? We're like the duo that literally stands back and hides until everyone's dead, and then we're like, "You're right, guys. Where is everyone?"
Anybody need some drugs?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, the other posters I've got here that I saw that I thought was just my childhood. That there
Yeah,
literally
good,
puts a smile on my face.
good poster. You get the point. I would know it's about fighter pilots right there. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, and then this one here you put as what is it? Bad movie for a good bad movie but a good poster. I mean, I haven't watched this. This film has had really good reviews.
I've only heard bad things about it. That's why I
Have
said
you?
that. Yeah. It's a newer. I just seen one review for it, but like when I seen the review for it, under this other channel, Jeremy Johns, I'm like, that's that kind of a cool poster. Like I kind of want to watch the movie just for the poster's sake. If I'm gonna be honest, like
Yeah.
that's like I can imagine a Batman villain like it's Black Mask and the Riddler come together. That's where my head goes when I see this poster.
Yeah, it does. It does look quite menacing, and I'm just looking at the ones I've got left. I think the other one was the Spider-Man Homecoming. Um, again, I'm not a fan of this poster.
Yeah, that's
Um,
I think that was under my bad one.
was
Like
it?
because it's just
Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
we're actually green on something. What?
So
Yeah,
so
go on.
So you do have Iron Man and Spider Man on there, but they feel insisted on showing you Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland in there. You know what I mean? Like pick up if you go to the comic, like especially with I'm a little bit judgy when it comes to comic book films and the posters I want to see because one of my favorite things to do in a comic book store is go through and look at cover art. I mean, there's artists in the comic book world that just get paid, like the late Michael Turner. Like there was a artist who had cancer before he died, and he was in the early 2000s. He was just doing cover after cover after cover, and you
Mm,
would walk into a comic book store and you just open up his books, like those books that he did the covers for. You know, the art in his side would be different, but I mean, everything he did was amazing. You
mm,
know, and you didn't see Bruce Wayne on the cover with his mask off. You didn't see Spider Man unless there was a point where he had to pull his mask off. You know,
yeah.
those are the characters I want to see. I don't.
I
I don't.
mean,
Go ahead.
I feel with this poster, it's like literally they are literally trying their best to sell the movie
Yeah.
because you've got all the characters' faces on there, and do you need them all on there? Michael Keaton, as you said, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland, because we know he's Spider Man. So why? I don't know. It's sort of like well, I suppose a poster is a selling tool. It
Hmm.
is a way of, selling that project. But then there's a classy way of doing it, and then there's a cheaper way of doing it. And this, I would say, is a cheaper way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's this other character head poster. You know, like I brought up like what made me want to talk about this is there was an Ant Man poster I seen. They were starting to release all the character posters and everything was. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Kang, but like you see, it's a Kang poster, and I'm like, that just looks like a guy in a suit. Or here's the Ant Man
Mm,
poster, it's Paul Rudd in a suit. You know,
yeah,
I I don't know about you, but when it comes to these superheroes that I've known for my whole life, I'm not going to those movies for X actor. You could like Henry Cavill was an unknown actor when he took Man of Steel, and
yeah.
I was there before opening day. Like I bought early screening passes, like through Walmart to go see Man of Steel because I want to see a Superman movie.
Mm,
I didn't see Batman for Christian Bale. I went to go see Batman. So I want to see a cool poster I know I sent it to you if you have the Heath Ledger Joker poster. Like I didn't need to see Heath Ledger with no makeup
um,
on. I need to see
yeah,
a cool
the
Joker poster.
character. You know what? For some reason, I put all the posters on here, and some of them disappeared. So I don't know where they are. But yeah, I
I
mean, we
will never
know
forgive you.
we. Oh, that's it. I keep me on. Listen. I've been so busy. It's been unbelievable. And then just before going live, I had to put up some hooks for my son's room with a drill. And anyone that knows me, I'm not a DIYer. Literally, put a drill in my hand, and I'm probably going to electrocute myself. I really, really am. But no, I mean the Joker. I mean, again, you don't need to see Heath Ledger because to me, Heath Ledger is Joker, and he's just superb. I mean, he played that character better than anyone could. To be fair.
I mean, it'd be like putting Jack Nicholson with no
Mm,
makeup on a poster and be like, "Come see the Joker." Like no, I want to see the Joker. Like you got to know what you're selling. And if we're gonna be honest, to the days of the movie star have passed. Well, they
yeah.
don't sell movie stars don't sell the movie unless it's maybe a Tom Cruise here and there, or you're
Mm,
going to see a Will Ferrell movie. You know what you're getting into, but nobody's clamoring to go see a Jennifer Lawrence movie because Jennifer Lawrence is in it. They want to know they know she's a good actor, but does the movie look good? You know
yeah.
that's my whole point of that.
Yeah. Oh, my camera just went off again. But no, I mean, the day of the stars going. I mean, it is a business. It is, this enormous, machine, and I suppose they're gonna produce all these movies, and it's all money and everything like that. And I don't think that we're gonna get the stars like we used to. Back in the day, you had stars, like Jean Claude Van Damme, and you had, all these big stars. Richard Gere was big at the time, But I suppose that's when we had so little choice, and now
Yeah.
we're going to see the upcomings of these unknown actors, and it's more going to be about the project, than anything else.
Well, like Jenna Ortega, who played Wednesday
Mm,
in the new Adams Family, like Wednesday. She was she was on my radar from was it Us or You?
mm,
I think it's You, and from Netflix. And then I seen her in this movie, X, which we shouldn't be talking about here. It's not family appropriate.
no,
Um, and then she's in this new Scream reboot, and she's even in the new Scream. And how much does her involvement in how popular Wednesday is going to help out the new Scream movie?
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, actors can be like stocks and shares, especially for the studios because they have got a bit of a selling, appeal to it because. If they're hot at the moment, they could sell everything, but they can get kicked to the curb very, very easily. Look at Brendan Fraser. You know,
Yeah,
he was massive at one point, and then obviously, they'd done what they needed with him, and then they didn't give him a second thought. Then all of a sudden, he gets a little break, and it's all about Brendan now. And
yeah, but even with him, to be fair, there was a few projects like whether I think Doom Patrol was his first one, but then there was a couple other movies that were smaller, different things that he was on. Like I think he was in Batgirl.
mm,
He started doing small things before he got to the Whale. Trying to
mm,
make a name for himself again. So he
yeah,
was on like a resurgence. It wasn't just all of a sudden he's in the Whale and nothing. Like
no, no,
the actor who played Data from Goonies, he was in everything all that everywhere all at once. That's a rare circumstance. Like he literally disappeared and reemerged. In
yeah,
an amazing
yeah.
movie.
And what a way! And it's just great to see these actors that we've grown up with making a comeback. I don't know if the fact of this talks about having another mummy movie with Brendan in it. I'm not sure. I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd still go and watch it because I love them mummy movies. I really did. Um, but no, I mean, before we finish up, I don't know. I mean, you haven't watched Yellowstone yet, but I don't know if anyone's aware out there that obviously they're on a break at the moment with season 5. The rest of the episodes are coming later on in summer. But apparently, Taylor Sheridan, the guy that wrote it, has said that this is probably going to be the last series because apparently Kevin Costner doesn't want to spend that much time on set. The news and the rumors is that he just wants to spend a week shooting and that's it. Which I think is really, really odd. I know he's working on other things like there's a cowboy sort of franchise he wants to get going called Horizon, which sounds interesting. But it's quite shocking that it's going to end because of an actor doesn't want to spend that much time on set. It makes sense though because he's just sold his retreat that is near where they film. So yeah, so this could be the end of Yellowstone. But there's going to be other shows linked to it, of course, with 1923 and the others as well. But yeah, you've got to watch it. If you get time. I mean, you're in America. You should want to be a cowboy. That's where you originated from.
I'm a Jew. I mean, come on, how many Jewish cowboys have you seen?
What you trying to say that Jewish people can't be cowboys?
Oh boy, oy vey.
Hey, 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 hey. No, they're
We
too
worked at the
smart.
bank.
Yeah, yeah, too smart, too smart. But Larry, it's been great chatting with you. I want to thank everyone that's been watching and commenting. Thank you for being part of our journey on Be More Super, and we're going to be back next week. Obviously, the Super Bowl on Sunday. Who do you reckon's going to win? Do you think the Eagles or the Chiefs?
Whatever one that you want to win, I want to lose, just in spite of you, because you didn't have my Dark Knight poster
What?
up.
Oh, okay. So I want the Chiefs to win. No, I don't. I want the Eagles to win. Go Eagles, go! And I think it's going to be a close call. I think it's going to be a close game. I really, really do. But I'll be watching live. I'll be watching the halftime show.
I mean, what are the chances are I I play on Xbox with two British guys, and both of them love American football, and both of you are like, "Hey, Larry, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl?" I'm like, I am the wrong person to ask. I'll talk about UFC with you, but that's about it.
But to be honest, though, if you ask me about the soccer, as you would call it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't like football. I don't like soccer. I only like American football because it's more entertaining. It's more interesting. I like the fact of the plays and the special teams and it's just fun. It's a fantastic sport to
You
follow. It
see how
really
I
is.
twitch just sitting here for an hour? Can you imagine me sitting there for 3 hours trying to pay attention to a football game? I'm over here like my
Oh,
ADHD is kicking in on these hours.
bless you, bless you. Well, Larry, you look after yourself. I'll see you
You too,
next
my
week.
friend.
We'll probably speak later today or in the week. But look after yourself. Keep safe
Come
and
on,
stay
Mrs.
super.
Gardner, let him play. Let him play, please.
I don't know. I'd have to. I don't know. Promise to rub a
Yeah.
feet later or something else. But who knows? But thank you everyone for watching. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and check out the channel. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Look
Be
after
more
yourselves.
super.
Exactly.